Hello there, you're with me, Rajinder Hans, on tvsarawak.com. These are the headlines. Deputy Prime Minister to hold a special dialogue with UNIMAS students and staff for the first time. Deputy Prime Minister advised local university to set target of band scores for MUET. Datin Patinggi Datuk Jamilah Anu advised SME entrepreneurs to equip themselves with relevant information and skills. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Tan Sri Datuk Haji Muhyiddin bin Haji Mohamad Yassin visited University Malaysia Sarawak to hold a special dialogue with UNIMAS students and staff for the first time. Tan Sri Muhyiddin witnessed the handing over of the new building of Medical Faculty of Health Sciences and the Institute of Health and Community Medicine UNIMAS. The new building is to train doctors and nurses as well as produce researchers to increase the production of trained manpower in the field of medicine and nursing, as well as contributing to national development. Tan Sri Haji Muhyiddin also said that the most pressing matter now is to generate a sustainable economy so that the government could provide more employment opportunities, which in return could help increase people's income in urban or rural areas. Deputy Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the flexibility offered to local universities to set their own target of band scores for the Malaysian University English Test would be a transition period for them to cater to the new required English language criteria set for intakes of students. According to him, the new qualifications were set from the discussions done among the relevant stakeholders who want graduates with better English proficiency. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also said that in Cyberjaya, 300 students of local public institutions had been called for interviews by multinational institutions and only 7 of them passed because the rest could not converse well in English. Adding on, he said, this is one of the reasons for them to raise the band scores. Tan Sri Muhyiddin highlighted that multinational corporations needed graduates who are proficient in English. Datin Patinggi Datuk Jamilah Anu advised SME entrepreneurs to equip themselves with relevant information and skills. Speaking at the Sarawak Chamber of Bumiputra Entrepreneurs Dinner held at Riverside Majestic Hotel, she called young entrepreneurs, especially women, to be more active and serious to succeed in small and medium industries. She urged DUBS to continue to play a role in helping entrepreneurs, especially in providing funds and training to create more Bumiputra entrepreneurs. Datuk Jamilah noted that Ministry of International Trade and Industries provide many aid programs for Bumiputra entrepreneurs in terms of training and funds to advance SMEs. Moving on to Malaysian news. A bilateral meeting with Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev will start off the first day of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak's working visit. His presence in the most populated city in the United Arab Emirates is in conjunction with the 10th World Islamic Economic Forum at the Madinat Jumeirah until October 30th. Datuk Seri Najib is also expected to be granted an audience by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai. Also, as the patron of the WIEF Foundation, he will then deliver his special address at the opening of the 3-day forum themed Innovative Partnerships for Economic Growth. Following the opening ceremony, Datuk Seri Najib will proceed to the Leaders' Luncheon before witnessing an exchange of memorandums of of understanding and agreements between Malaysian companies and their business partners. The WIEF is organised by the WIEF Foundation in collaboration with the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Deputy Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin received the Malay World Islamic World's highest award, the Mansur Shah Award, in conjunction with the 15th DMDI Convention. The award, comprising a black sash and certificate of appreciation, was presented by DMDI President Tan Sri Muhammad Ali Rustam. Also present were Melaka Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Muhammad Khalil Yaakob and Melaka Chief Minister Datuk Seri Idris Harun. The three-day convention, which began on Sunday, was attended by over 1,000 participants from 18 DMDI member countries, including Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, China and South Africa. Malaysia's largest Islamic cooperative bank, Bank Rakyat, was named the Best Islamic Bank 2014 at the Global Islamic Finance Award held in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The announcement was made by the bank's chairman, Datuk Mat Noor Nawi, at the inaugural Bank Rakyat International Islamic Banking Conference 2014. Earlier in his speech, Datuk Mat Noor said the bank's turning point of its 6 decades of operations had been the shift from conventional to Islamic banking in 1993 and transformed its operating system to a full-fledged Sharia-based system in 2003. Moving on to the global front, China will allow direct trading between its currency and the Singapore dollar from Tuesday, making it easier for companies to do business with their Chinese counterparts. The Sing dollar will be added to the China Foreign Exchange Trade System platform, which currently offers transactions between the yuan and 10 foreign currencies. The announcement came on October 27th after an agreement at the Joint Council for Bilateral Cooperation in Suzhou, co-chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Teo Chee Hean and Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli. Previously, companies that wanted to convert a large amount of Sing dollars to renminbi or vice versa had to do so via an intermediate currency, such as the US dollar. Deputy Prime Minister Teo called this a major and significant development which will reduce the cost of doing business and make it more convenient. Last year, China was Singapore's biggest trading partner, while the city-state was China's top foreign investor. Mr. Teo also noted that Singapore is a major renminbi hub for the internationalization of the Chinese currency. While women are rapidly closing the gender gap with men in areas like health and education, inequality at work is not expected to be erased until 2095, according to a report published by the World Economic Forum Tuesday. The organization, which each year gathers the global elite in the plush Swiss ski resort of Davos, said that the world gender gap in the workplace had barely narrowed in the past 9 years. Since 2006, when the WEF first began issuing its annual Global Gender Gap reports, women have seen their access to economic participation and opportunity inch up to 60% of that of men's from 56%. The report, which covered 142 countries, looked at how nations distribute access to healthcare, education, political participation, and resources and opportunities between women and men. Almost all the countries had made progress towards closing the gap in access to healthcare, with 35 nations filling it completely, while 25 countries had shut the education access gap, the report showed. The 5 Nordic countries, led by Iceland, clearly remain the most gender equal. They were joined by Nicaragua, Rwanda, Ireland, the Philippines and Belgium in the top 10, while Yemen remained at the bottom of the chart for the 9th year in a row. The United States, meanwhile, climbed 3 spots from last year to 20th after narrowing its wage gap and hiking the number of women in parliamentary and ministerial level positions. France catapulted from 45th to 16th place, also due to a narrowing wage gap, but mainly thanks to increasing numbers of women in politics, including near parity in the number of government ministers. With 49% women ministers, France now has one of the highest ratios in the world. Britain, meanwhile, dropped 8 spots at 226th place amid changes in income estimates. Among other large economies, Brazil stood at 71st place, Russia at 75th, China at 87th, and India at 114th. Experts had believed that the volcanic islands east of Australia were isolated from continental influence, but a team from James Cook University says it has found tiny zircon crystals of the same age in rocks on Vanuatu and in northern Australia. The tiny crystals were carried in volcanic magma, the Australian Associated Press reported, and by the using latest radiometric techniques, they were dated at up to 3 billion years old. Mr. Spanler said that the presence of the zircon had major implications for how scientists understand how continents are made. The piece of Australian crust now under Vanuatu is believed to have separated from the mainland prior to the Cenozoic era about 100 million years ago. After India warned its military not to use Xiaomi devices owing to privacy fears, the Chinese firm has announced plans to open an Indian data center. Xiaomi, which specializes in low-cost smartphones, has ambitions to sell 100,000 handsets in India every week. But the country's Air Force warned its personnel against using the devices, citing security concerns about data being kept in Beijing. Xiaomi said it never collected user data without permission. The company has already begun the process of moving non-Chinese data out of Beijing and instead into data centers owned by Amazon. The decision to open a facility in India is another move by Xiaomi to allay privacy fears. Concerns over how data is held by the firm are seen as perhaps the only significant barrier to its rapid expansion around the world. The company, which poached a high-profile Google executive to spearhead Western efforts, has produced feature-rich smartphones that are considerably cheaper than some rivals. Software giant SAP will be opening its SAP Innovation Center in the city-state by the end of the year as it expands its regional footprint in its 25th year in Asia-Pacific. The SAP Innovation Center will focus on developing innovations to address areas such as smart cities, healthcare, Industry 4.0 and digital consumers. It will partner with SAP customers and partners in its innovation drive, as well as research collaboration with local universities. Its SAP University Alliance Student Entrepreneurship Program, for example, was recently announced in Singapore, Australia and India. Students can develop new products leveraging SAP's technologies and will have access to the company's mentors, experts, and an entrepreneurship curriculum. That wraps up the news for today. I'm Rajinder Hans. Thank you for watching.